Yeah, full disclaimer, I've never claimed to be any good at any impressions ever, so I don't do them on stage.
Do you guys have, I'm not an impressionist. Do you guys have this thing where, so this will happen to me sometimes, I'll have moments of impression genius that I can never replicate ever. Where I'll just be like, all of a sudden I'll need to do a Boston accent. I'll do it. It'll be amazing. And then someone will be like, oh, Jerry, you can do a Boston accent? And I'm like, 100% not. It was literally just that 1 second. Mm-hmm. Do you guys do that? Do you guys have that thing that happens? Or
I am more of a voice person, but I don't do it in comedy. It's weird. It's like, it's just something I've never implemented because I don't know. It's not what I do in stand up, but yeah, I definitely have this thing where like, I feel like I need depending on what the accent is, I need to do it for like, I need to work on it for a day and then it'll be solid. But I can't, I'm not one of those people that does impressions on a dime.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever done one at home or like in private that was like, oh my God, I just nailed Morgan Freeman. And then, and then when called upon to do it in public, you're just like, penguins, that's not Morgan Freeman. What? Like,
I'll start it for like a few seconds and be like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Everybody does that.
I thought I could.
Oh, no, can't do it.
Yeah.
For me, it's anything that's like British or Australian. It always like bleeds into it. Australian person ends up being British, being Irish, being from the Southwest, from the American Southwest.
Yeah.
There's this like, I have no control over it. It's just a mash of noises.
Ever since I saw Flight of the Conchords, my British accent turned more into like Australian, and now it's like a bad mix where it's a bad habit to kind of mix those because then it's not consistent. You know, I always think Australians are like
New Zealand.
Yeah, Australians are like Cockney hillbillies. That's the way I always thought of it, and that's why they're so similar in certain ways. But, yeah, New Zealand is another. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what happens when you throw your worst people onto a boat and send them to an island.
Yeah.
They build an awesome opera house. No one saw that.
Criminals that built this opera house.
Yeah. As Australia is a perfect example as to why we need to reform our prison system, because we just sent them there and we said, build a society. And they did. They gave their own lives meaning. And that's why it becomes a societal plague to attach a label to a criminal as a criminal or a sex offender.
We could have so many beautiful opera houses all over this country if we just set up penal colonies instead of prisons.
Yes.
Profit continent.
Yeah.
It's a whole.
Exactly. We just need to believe in people is what that's about.
I quite agree.
To believe in our sex offenders.
I did a Zoom show recently that my mom was at, and someone at the Zoom show asked me if I ever did cocaine, and I was fine admitting that I had tried cocaine to my mom to a show that my mom was in the audience. But I really wanted to milk that moment for everybody where I was just like, my mom's here, guys, you know, and it became like a really fun runner for the rest of the show.
Yeah. I didn't inhale. That's all you gotta say.
I just put it around. I put it on my gums. I didn't inhale.
I smelled it.
Yeah.
I just gave it a sniff.
Oh, I was like, what was the justification? Was it was late at night and I was at a party, but I didn't feel it because I was too drunk, Mom. You don't have to worry about me. I didn't even feel the cocaine because I was hammered.
Yeah. Right. No, I just got to the point. My parents asked me point blank if I'd ever done it. I was like, oh, absolutely. I don't do it anymore, but yeah.
A whole lot, Mom.
Yeah. Why
are you holding?
No, not right now.
Do you want to party?
Yeah. Let's do it let's go. The Anthony, the Aaron Bergs,
Yeah.
Is that kind of that?
Did you guys read that article about those guys?
I did.
I did.
Yeah. That is a community I am extremely happy to not be a part of.
Yeah.
And reading that being like, go to hell, all of you guys.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
They bleed over to our B clubs. A lot of those people. So.
Oh, in Ohio?
Yeah, the
clubs.
Like the road dogs have that, like, you can't say anything anymore kind of.
Yeah, that's their favorite thing to say. It's like, no, you don't have anything to say anymore because you're just not original.
Mm-hmm. It's so boring. Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand how you do a joke on the road that crushes, but it's using the same old stereotypes about women or minorities or gay people or whatever. And it's like, I don't care if it works. It's boring. It's
Yeah.
dull. We've heard it, you know?
Yeah.
It's the
Are you
trope
really
repackaged.
Mhm. Are you really stretching your creative muscle that much to tell an abortion joke? Like, you know,
Yeah.
there's always a way to do it. There's always,
I
don't
have
get
an
me wrong.
abortion joke that works, but it's not about abortion. It's about hating abortion jokes.
Yeah.
That's how you get an abortion, because it's technically an abortion joke, but I'm keeping it. So
Yeah.
that's the difference.
Mhm.
That's funny. I like that. That's
Yeah.
very meta.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's bananas.
Yeah, my whole mentality of that is like, you can't say it that you can say whatever you want. You just can't say it that way, because here's the thing. People are paying to see you. You are, you know, you have customers. You don't, when people walk into your grocery store, they can be like, well, I thought you'd have fresh lobster here. You can't be like, listen, you fucking bitch. Like, you can't, that's not how that works.
You're right. That's such a good analogy.
You gotta be like, hey, listen, our store doesn't have lobsters, but if you want lobsters, go to this other store. Or like, we have imitation crab meat, or we have other things that you can have. Like, whatever.
It's just like so childish. It's like, oh, you can't use the N-word in a joke? Cool. Use your brain. Try to think of something clever. Try to be smarter about it. Use the limitations that you have to become a better comedian. You know, there are certain things that I write where I can have kind of a mush mouth sometimes on stage. And there are a couple of jokes where if I can't say it fast and if the words aren't tripping off my tongue in the exact right way, then it doesn't land. And I'm like, do I really want to go into every single night that I'm performing thinking about, am I going to be able to say the words fast enough and pronounce it? Or do I want to rewrite it in a way that's going to be easier to say and will land more consistently? And it's the same thing with that shit. You know, like, don't, you know, use a gendered insult. If that's getting a negative reaction, try to think of a way to make it better without that thing. I mean, that being said, I've got no problem, you know, cursing on stage. I know I have a lot of respect for the comics that work clean for that way, where I'm like, yeah, you're using that limitation to be a better comic.
And here's the thing with clean, you know, when people think of clean, they think like, oh, corporate, like, oh, there's nothing risque about it. But
the Christian circuit.
Yeah, the Christian circuit. but if you listen to a comic like Nate Bargatze, he's taking on like topics, like heavier topics. He takes on death. He takes on climate change in a way that's it's not dirty. It like you can do it anywhere. You can do it at a church. You could do it at a corporate show. But there are ways to tackle a topic, no matter how offensive it might be, in ways that are palatable for whatever audience is in front of you.
100%.
Like, stretch yourself.
I find myself pretty, I don't know. I try not to get into the weeds of what's a person allowed to say and what's a person not allowed to say. But my allegiance is always going to be with a marginalized community, where if you're saying that this thing hurts you, that when you hear other people say it, then I don't need to say it. It's you know, it's literally no skin off my back. So why are we fighting about this?
You're inclined to give them the benefit of the doubt and believe them that it really hurts them. I mean, how fucking hard is that to understand?
Yeah, because if not saying the N-word is going to hurt your feelings, it's going to inconvenience me zero to just not say it.
Yeah. They act like you can't say anything anymore, but really what they're saying you can't say is an infinitely small percentage of the things you can talk about that can elicit laughter.
Yeah.
And they think it's like all you can talk about. Or they like it's this big hidden, it's not.
Yeah, when I hear that, all I hear is I'm not willing to adapt to my audience. And I don't really care about your well-being. I'm just going to say it because I'm selfish.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. It's, you know,
right. I didn't know I was going to get on this soapbox today. But...
Dude, we've
there
got
goes America.
Yeah.
There goes America. Can't say Nazis. Even though the Nazis hated all those groups. Hello. It's kind of ironic that you're trying to like misappropriate that term for the exact opposite of what it means. But, you know, whatever.
What's being a sex offender like a few hundred years ago, you know? So to see the...
I'm not a historian, but I feel like this was a taboo for a long time.
Depends on position of power, depends on culture, depends on influence, money, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, there are pockets where, Jerry Lee Lewis, the guy that sang Great Balls of Fire, like married his cousin when she was, I don't know, 14 or 15 or something. And there are, I think, still laws, like in Texas, where you're allowed to have sex with someone who's underage if you get married to them first.
Mm-hmm.
Or even
Wasn't there
after.
an
It might be
actor?
retroactive. Yeah.
Paul Schaefer used to date Valerie Bertinelli when she was like 15 and he was like 28. That's messed up. They admitted that on live TV on Letterman, but it was like the mid 80s. So like everybody was just like, whatever. It's like,
Yeah, I guess it was like okay if they were 15 or 16. It was like frowned upon, but not yet like
people
go to
would just
jail.
tease you about it. They wouldn't go,
Yeah.
this is a, you know. And it was weird because Eddie Van Halen was on that episode, and that's like his wife at the time, and he's just sitting there listening to Paul Schaefer talk about dating his wife as a teenager. Just like, okay.
Dennis Quaid and his girlfriend they had a 32-year gap.
Oh, I thought you said Randy Quaid at first. Now I'm like, oh.
So he had a girlfriend that was 32 years younger than him, and then now he's married to a wife that's 39 years younger than him.
Jesus Christ, man.
So
how old is Dennis Quaid?
At least 39.
At
least 39. Wow. Okay.
Jeff Goldblum's wife is 30 years younger than her. Sarah Paulson and her girlfriend, 31 years. So, I mean, it's not a big deal. It's just, but like, yeah, I'm trying to find that dude that married that girl. I mean, Jerry Seinfeld, like he had that girlfriend who was young.
Yeah, it was legal, but not great.
Yeah,
really bad.
The optics are a little bit weird. It's like,
I'm willing to go further than that. I'm willing to say it was bad, that he shouldn't have done it, even if it was legal.
I mean, I couldn't even imagine like dating somebody who's 18, let alone 21. Like, right, you know, like I'm gonna go get drunk with the girls. It's like
And
that's
also,
not a world I want to live in anymore.
He was famous then.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
It's just exploding my brain right now.
Yeah.
That I am sure there are a lot of famous people who use their power and influence to date or hook up with girls who are legal but too young. And then there's also like, I'm dating this girl, and you like take them around and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, good Lord.
Hi, Mom. This is your granddaughter. Like,
Oh my goodness.
yeah.
Whew.
Too
Yeah.
much.
Why did we start talking about this? This is a little tangential, but one of my first jokes that I wrote when I started doing stand-up here in New York is that there was a line in a Snoop Dogg thing where he's like talking trash to other rappers.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, we're going to take them to the LA Zoo. Like they're going to go wild on their asses. But what he said was, we're going to take them to the LA Zoo. And I was like, well, I don't think that's good trash talk because I would love to go to the zoo with Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
Like, that seems like a really fun thing to do. This is a little bit, this is obviously when I was a younger comic. I didn't realize how hack it was to just talk about how weird rap lyrics are.
Yeah.
You know? He said, and then hoped desperately that none of the comics he was talking to had jokes like that. David?
Well.
Steven? No? No jokes about how weird rap lyrics are?
Yes. Cream. Cash rules everything around me. Yeah, it's called the economy method, man.
I've done a bit about how actually, no. Wow. Okay. So the song "What's Your Fantasy" by Ludacris. Do you remember that song, first of all?
Vaguely.
So it went, I want to lick you from your head to your toes. So the whole joke was I used to sing that. I used to know all the words for that back in 1999. I was 11. So the only thing I was licking from its head to its toes at 11 were the SpongeBob popsicles I get from the ice cream truck. And then
it's adorable. I love it.
and then I would dive into, and that like what the song was about. It's about all the places that Ludacris wants to have sex with a lady. Like, and the very first thing he picks is in the Georgia Dome on the 50-yard line with the Dirty Birds kick for 3. Like, really, that's your first fantasy in the middle of an NFL football game? And it's like, it's not that great of a bit.
David, how were you delivered in the maternity ward or whatever.
That's not Ludacris. That's actually Two Live Crew.
I was just bringing that one up too.
Ass down, face up. That's the way that I was born. So it was a breech baby.
Doodoo Brown, Doodoo Brown, Doodoo Brown. I don't know. It's the only lyric that pops out.
Yeah,
it's hard to forget. It's hard to forget that lyric.
I thought the "What's Your Fantasy" bit was great when I came up with it. I was like, oh, dude, no one ever talks about how Ludacris wants to have sex in all these weird places with a girl, like in the library on top of the books, but you can't be too loud. And then I went into like, I like how the thing that he's most worried about is the noise level. Mm-hmm. You can do it in the library, that's fine. Take all the books off the shelves and do it on top of those, that's great. But can you have him keep it down back there? Like, it's interrupting my studying. So, it's one of those bits that I tried a few times, but it's not really like authentic to me. But you gotta.
It feels like a thing that you do when you're younger, when you're looking for material.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was one of those things where I took the breech baby bit and I was like, how can I explore every single aspect of this joke until it's wrung to death? And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And in that case, it kind of works sometimes, but my goal as a comic when I get on stage, and this should be a goal for every comic to get on stage, it's not to get just like tepid applause and laughter and be good enough, but to, you want to get that big laugh on every line if you can. And, there's a natural ebb and flow. Like you can't be just banger after banger after banger and expect the audience to be with you the whole time, because that's exhausting. But at the same time, like, if the joke isn't getting the reaction that you want, adjust it, save it for later, or get rid of it for now.
Incinerate it,
destroy it forever. So
yeah,
a lot of my early jokes are like that. It's like, oh, cool, I got a laugh, awesome, and then I go back and listen to it, and it's like, that's fine. It's not what I wanted.
Yeah, there was a period in my early career when I was doing bringers at the comic strip, and I don't know what they were putting in the water over there, but every bringer that I did for comic strip, I annihilated. And I came away from those shows thinking I already had an ego problem when I first got started, thinking that I was like a savant and that I shouldn't do open mics because then everyone's going to steal my jokes because they're so good. And doing those bringer shows at comic strip only worsened the problem, where everything was such a giant injustice that they didn't offer me paid spots after I killed so hard, when it took me years later to realize that you can kill and suck at the same time.
Yeah.
And I was looking at these awful jokes that destroyed, and just being like, wow, this is embarrassing. Like, I can't believe that I wrote these. These are bad. These are bad jokes.
Yeah. And who are you for laughing at this? Like, really? Who are you to egg me on?
You guys gotta go to hell. Get some taste, man.
You're a laugh offender. Put you on that registry. Get these people to come laugh at your terrible jokes and make you feel good about yourself as a comic.
Yeah.
There was a new comic. It was maybe one of his first times going up, and I wasn't actually at the show, but he used the N-word, and everybody gasped in the audience. It was at a club, like an amateur night at a club.
Hey, who was it? Just say it.
I don't know. I've never met the guy. I've never met the guy. His name was like Michael or something. And there was video of it that somebody posted on Facebook. And he says the word, everyone gasps, and he was like, good, that's the reaction I wanted. And it was like, what the fuck? Like, he was trying to make some point that didn't make any sense, but that's it. Being shocking isn't funny just for its own sake. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. You missed the point. Somebody who's shocking professionally isn't doing it to be shocking. Otherwise, it would be professional.
Yeah.
You can't laugh at that.
Special thanks to Golden Ox Studio. You can find Golden Ox Studio for all your podcasting needs at goldenoxstudio.com. Hit up Jeremy. He is fantastic to work with, a professional. He makes podcasting easy. And if you've been kicking the tires on starting your own podcast, definitely give Golden Ox Studio a look. If you'd like to weigh in on today's topic, follow us on Twitter at YouCan'tLaughPod, or like us on Facebook at You Can't Laugh at That, and tell us how you did laugh at today's topic, or how you didn't. This is all about the conversation, is what I'm saying. All right, bye.